hit it with the recap.
Previously, Apathy, Kevin, and Throckmorton arrive in Saltmarsh. They meet a dwarf. Kevin throttles the dwarf. They get arrested. Doofenshmirtz reveals his evil plot to steal Throckmorton's beacon. Oyu has a realization that Apathy has the voice of his bumblebee god. Saltmarsh give the Hazardous Pirates rehab program a job to raid a haunted house. Throckmorton invites Doofenshmirtz. Oyu follows Apathy. They arrive at the house. They battle giant weasels. Doofenshmirtz falls down a well. They enter the house. They are attacked by spiders. They burn the spiders. They go underneath the floorboard. They meet Trent. They name him Derek. They take Derek hostage and decide to walk through the doorway marked Danger. And I will give my inspiration point to Oyu.
The room that you're looking into now is really dim. Who is opening it, please?
I'll open it.
So Doofenshmirtz is pulling up in the door as Trent is being pushed through. So Doofenshmirtz, this room is lit only by the lights outside from the room that you're currently in. And there's something moving, I guess, in the shadows very softly.
Shall I cast campfire in the middle of the room, guys?
Yes.
Yep.
I do that.
Campfire
I create a fireinator.
With the innator, you blast it outwards and a bonfire just appears in the center of the room. You feel just a gust of hot air as the room is lit. As your eyes slowly adjust, you notice 3 skeletons begin crawling to their feet. One of them still like on the floor prone and just crawling with his hand slowly towards you. The other 2 get up. Trent is screaming, and as you're holding him, he's just shaking in his boots. Please everyone roll initiative.
Can I throw Derek at the first skeleton?
His strength average rolled a 7, so I'm just going to let you do that. So you push Trent into him. His hands are bound, and he turns straight back towards you, just panic in his eyes as this skeleton grabs his shoulder.
I attack that one with my rapier. 19 to hit, so 9 damage altogether.
After Trent just pushed into this guy, after you barge into the room, and with a rapier, you cut off 2 of its ribs, and they just drop to the floor. The sword in its hand just scrapes across the stone floor.
I club one in the kneecaps, one behind Trent, and that's a 2 to hit.
Doofenshmirtz, with the innator that's just blasted out the bonfire and seeing the battle go on, you just emboldened and rush forward with your club. It's already coming towards its prey, which is Trent now. The club just skirts his kneecap slightly, and he does not fall over.
I'm gonna use my staff and just whack it over the one that's got Trent. 24 to hit, 6 damage.
After seeing Doofenshmirtz just miss this thing, you stab it with your staff, hooks into its rib, and as you pull the staff out, the skeleton just crumbles. Trent is released, so Trent just falls to his knees, gasping, and he's a bit terrified at this point.
Okay, I'm going to run up and touch him and imbue him with bravery, because I'm a nice person.
Before you crouch next to him, you put your hand on his head.
So he gains 2 temporary hit points at the beginning of every go,
Perfect.
and he's immune to being frightened.
It is his turn as well, so you put your hand on his head. It's just a soft blow, a bit of a heavenly sound as well. Trent he stops shaking. The ropes around him, he just severs them and they just drop around him. And seeing the skeleton now, he's going to grab it by the head and just chuck it to the ground or try and pull it. Oh, that's a 4. So he grabs the skeleton, but the skeleton's pulling away from him and trying to slice him at the same time. So the one that's just been attacked by Trent cuts into him for 5 hit points, slashes into his armor, and he just holds his wound slightly as the one on the floor gets up to his feet and is just going to grab Doofenshmirtz. 12 to hit.
No, armor class 14.
Okay, so this skeleton, getting up from the floor, is still trying to grab his sword, and as it cuts just at your feet, you just dive over it. You all now begin to notice a soft, bluish, ghostly glow from the side of the wall, and it seems to be behind the wall, and you just see some through the cracks.
I am going to pull the head off the one on the floor.
Just do your unarmed strike against him, I guess.
18.
And damage, please.
Great.
Kevin, you grab the one on the floor who's just been slashing at Doofenshmirtz's feet, and you just begin pulling with all your might, and you just hear several cracks down the spine, and you manage to sever not just the head, but so it lost its legs, and you pull it. It's still swinging with its sword and it's still alive, but you've now removed its legs completely.
I will go for the one that is stronger currently. The
Okay.
one that has more hit points with my rapier again. 6 to hit.
Apathy sees this skeleton on the floor. You cut down and you manage to cut your rapier just in between where the spine is separated from the hips. And so your sword just scrapes against the floor after Kevin has just pulled this thing off.
I'm gonna go towards the blue thing and let
Okay.
everyone else skeletons.
So please can have an investigation check.
16.
As you approach this blue light, you hear some very faint magic being made and like loads of clicks, like bones popping and cracking as if they're being pulled into place or pulled out of place. You're not quite sure at this stage. And as you're looking around as well, you do see that it's a hidden hatch that you can pull a small lever and a secret door will likely open.
People, I think there's a necromancer next door.
I use my staff again. 15. The one that's attacking Trent. I need to
Oh.
save him. 11
Perfect.
damage.
So with your staff, you just swipe it, you knock its head clean off, and as its head shatters against the wall, just with a crunch, just falls to the ground almost in powder. The sword is dropped to its side with just a clang on the floor, and your body just slowly falls to the ground, and the bones just scatter. As it's rolling towards the ground, or you're just hitting the leg with a bit of a shin bone.
I would like to bonk one with my great club. 21 to hit.
Definitely.
What can I do with my inspiration?
Reroll a bad roll, or add d8 to anything.
8 to my damage. 10 damage.
Are you taking the great club out after giving bravery to Trent? You take your great club off your back and just slam it down with a really satisfying crunch. It seems to cave in the floor slightly as you just bury these bones into the ground itself. You're currently out of combat. Trent seems to get a bit curious now. See, that's why I marked it danger, but this doesn't seem natural. Strange, definitely human person.
No, it does not. It seems like magic is afoot.
Okay, I'm just gonna go, and he just slowly starts backing out towards the door.
Wait,
Get him.
Trent, are you like damaged a little bit? Do you want me to help you?
Okay.
Can I roll a medicine check?
You can. How are you helping him?
I want to kiss his leg better.
As you bend down to kiss him, you don't need a medicine check. He's just going to rush away from you.
Oh.
It's like, whoa, you guys are weird. I'm just going to go to my ghosts.
I hit him with my boomerang.
Okay, go ahead. Roll an attack against him.
24 to hit.
24 hits.
6 damage.
Are you going for lethal or non-lethal?
I didn't want it to be lethal. I just want to tie him up again.
As you throw your boomerang at his head, it just bonks him out and he just collapses to the floor just with a clump. And as your boomerang lands back in your hand, you're just seeing that he's just fallen unconscious.
Just give him some light memory loss. I don't know.
As this light behind the door is getting steadily louder and louder, and you hear from behind, in another ghostly whisper similar to the voices you heard upstairs, it's secrets found and lost, then found again. Your paltry minds cannot fathom. It seems to be speaking to you in this room.
Alt minds. He just called us bird brains.
Maybe we should investigate.
Yes.
Let's go.
Called the lever crank.
With a clunk, you pull this lever down, as then a panel just begins to slide across. And behind it, you see another skeleton, but this time he's in really ornate robes with runes that seem to just be stitched inside of it. Really arcane symbols. He's got a really wispy beard, but it seems to be made of some kind of blue energy more than anything else. And as he reaches out a hand to grasp you,
I'm gonna remove my greasinator. Shoot it all over the floor.
you just blast out a swarm of grease that just fills the floor. Dexterity +1, but that's a 5. As you slide this across the floor, he slides against what looks to be some kind of working desk. An ornate chair kind of knocks to one side as well that falls over as he pushes it. So he clutches at his beard, but all this blue energy just turns into green acid, and he's going to throw it straight at Doofenshmirtz's face. 20 unnatural to hit.
Yeah.
6 points of acid damage. Your face is just hit with this burning acid, and your skin just begins to blister slightly.
I have bound up Trent's legs. I also still have my skeleton spine. So I'm going to use Trent
Okay.
as a weapon. Again, throw him at the skeleton with one hand, and then the other hand I'm going to whip the skeleton with my skeleton head.
Please can I first have a strength check.
23.
So lifting him off his feet, you lob Trent towards this alchemist. The grease on the floor is really unstable, and so as Trent just lands with full force against this alchemist, please can you just roll. An improvised weapon is similar to an actual weapon and can be treated as such. It's like with 1d4 plus your strength.
to 4 overall.
So with Trent chucked across him, you get your whip as well, and I'd just like a standard, just a D8, please.
Oops, that's a D100.
Roll a
four.
D. 99.
That's 4.
Trent just being chucked at him, you get the whip in your other hand and just slash across. The spine just whips, so you kind of slash across his face lightly with just, you see an interesting groove up the skeleton's face, as then the hat is just thrown off.
I am just gonna get out of the way and just watch, because this just seems too entertaining to get involved in.
Okay, so Apathy again just does not want to get involved in any type of combat and stands to one side.
If it tries to go towards you, I'm gonna throw my dagger.
So that means you just jump into the combat round because you're ready. That's what preparing an action is if anyone wants to do that in the future. So Apathy stands to one side and just waits.
I'm gonna cast bonfire on his face. That's what I'm gonna do.
I think I only cast it near the feet, but still.
Maybe like the center area. And that's 8 damage. So
Amazing.
suck on that.
So as a bonfire just appears, parts of the robes is already tattered and, really frayed and old. It begins to burn at the seams.
I have fairy fire.
He failed his dexterity saving throw. And so as you cast this fairy fire, everything in the room seems to glow just a really ghostly purple. And then specifically this skeletal wizard-like person. All the blue on his beard changes to purple as well. You will all get advantage on attacks against him.
I've noticed that I've managed to acquire 2-weapon fighting. So I only have one-handed weapon. So can I just punch with the other hand?
Oh, yes, why not?
So I'm going to use my mace. I'm just going to go up and say, "You don't hurt my friends."
As you do, please have a dexterity saving throw to see if you fall on the grease.
That's 16.
So as you walk over, you're quite heavy, and so you step down, the grease just kind of slops beneath your feet, and you club him in the face.
So that's a natural 20. 10 damage to that one, and then I punch him. 24 to hit with my punch, and that's just 4 damage.
And so with a cry of, "You don't hurt my friends," you just lob down with a club. His robe seems to just tear it at the seams, just revealing just awful skeletal, bits of flesh are still dangling off whatever little skin remains. His jaw just widens as you then punch him in the jaw, which just breaks it slightly. With one bit of acid, it just forms from his beard again. He's going to try and push it into Oyu's face. 16 to hit,
Yeah.
6 damage again.
I'm going to use my reaction. Stone's Endurance. I can reduce damage
I
up to
also-
1d12.
Can I jump in with my action now because he won't
And
throw you?
Oyu seems to just endure this, and his skin just seems to almost harden against the acid being pushed against him. Apathy jumps in with 2 daggers that he's striking.
Okay, so 14 for one and same 14 for the other. Okay, so that's 7 damage to start with, and then 1d4 is 3, so 10 damage altogether.
Seeing this acid shoved across Ryu, Apathy dives into the room and just chucks both daggers. They fly just right next to Oyu's ears, one after the other. One pins it into the side of his jaw and then just sticks in the back of his mouth. And the next one just hooks it right in between the eyes, shattering the skull in 2. And the skeletal figure just drops to the ground in a cloud of dust that just rains around. The blue wispy beard just seems to float around the room and then just explode with light as you all feel a lot more powerful than you did just 20 seconds ago. All your points are restored, and suddenly all your spell slots are also restored.
I collect my dagger.
You grab both daggers from this guy.
I pray.
I sit and meditate and create a starry map, which is my druid focus now.
It was today our daily honey.
I shuffle to the corner of the room, bend down slightly, and start reciting the events that just happened.
Is there anything left of his clothes?
The guy also has a empty bag of holding.
I would put Trent in it.
You can.
Yeah!
If it gets too heavy, it splits at the seams and all the contents spread out into an alternate plane.
Yes, we should definitely put him in there.
I've got that as an option to make with the artifier.
And I shove Trent in there.
Bye, Derek.
I forgot he's unconscious, and you just slide him into this bag of holding. And it's like the Harry Potter bag, where you just, as the more you put it in, just his legs seem to vanish into its own plane. But to get items out of the bag, you have to say the item name.
Looks like someone's stuck there forever.
How fast does it come out?
It's not too fast, it does.
So we can't point at someone and say axe.
Basically, in the room as you come into it, it's just a clutter of glass that's now been filled with grease that's just shattered across the entire floor. On the far side of the room, you do see the desk that the guys just died against with a really ornate chair. On the desk itself, there's a bunch of books, some chemical equipment, brewer supplies, and across the desk as well, loads of gold items. There's like a human skull that's just pure gold, apple, a rose, and a set of just 5 discs.
Can I investigate the discs?
So you go take these discs.
Are they coasters?
They could be precocious for you now, but they are solid gold.
Okay.
Is there anything on the floor?
A lot of grease, and that's the only thing on the floor besides a bunch of smashed glass.
I start sweeping up the glass.
I bring everyone around and I say, I think this guy was an alchemist and he was turning random objects into gold. He was a necromancer Alchemist.
You mean to say one of those skulls was once a real skull?
Wait, could this be the treasure we were sent to find?
Possibly.
I take it all into my bag of holding.
There was a rose and there was an apple.
Was that a golden rose and a golden apple?
Yeah.
There were some books, weren't there?
The one that's laid open on the desk is The Secret of the Philosopher's Stone.
I open the bag of holding and I say Philosopher's Stone.
Nothing happens.
If we find the stone, can we turn my horns to gold?
Yes.
That would be very heavy.
Oh, sorry. Or you, as you're sweeping the floor for this glass, as you're sifting through the bones, you notice that there are 4 rib bones that have just been dipped in gold, and so they could be somewhat valuable.
I just sweep them up into the pile.
And they become buried amongst them unless anyone is looking at what he's doing.
Hey, Kevin, do you think the Philosopher's Stone might be in your robes?
Let me check.
Kevin reaches into the pockets, as luck would have it, pulls out a interesting looking stone. It has a very strange green gem kind of lining it, which shows that it's got some kind of magical property to it.
I think that we should possibly give this to Doofenshmirtz. He might be able to use it for his...
Goldenator! Perfect.
But it's up to you, Kevin.
It's mine. I found it.
Can I use sleight of hand and try and steal it from Kevin?
No.
That's not how it works.
I'll pull your head off and use your spine as a weapon. Okay, I'm
That one
gonna
is next
put it somewhere where it can't be stolen.
Just
Funny,
somewhere.
I know where that is.
I take the Philosopher's Stone book and I give it to Kevin.
If you want to study this book, I would need an intelligence check, please.
Can I cast guidance on Kevin?
I got 12. Did now roll a d4 and add that.
You do.
Yeah.
12 plus 13.
It's written in common, but the language of it is just so complicated and of alchemists' things and of things that you don't really understand. You don't make head or tail of it.
I've swallowed the stone as well, so it can't be stolen.
All of it, and that definitely will tune you to the properties.
Everyone turns to gold.
We can have gold poops.
Oh gosh.
You can sell my poops.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're ever hungry or in need of a bit of cash.
Gold nuggets.
Oh, dang it!
Can I investigate the desk?
On the desk, as you begin pulling open drawers and stuff, you find a small stack of coins that totals about 47 gold pieces, and a spell book as well.
Can I add my spine skeleton to my list of weapons? Spinal whipcord.
Spinal destination.
Just outside this room now to your right is another door.
I say we go through the other door.
I'm just going to see how long someone survives in a bag of holding. 10 minutes divided by the number of creatures in there. So he's got 10 minutes of air before he dies.
Or maybe we should take him out of the bag.
I take him out. I reach in
Trent.
and I'm like, Trent,
And Trent just comes flying out of the bag and sliding across the floor. He's still unconscious though and still bound.
we probably have some more rope to like drag him.
Knows about the underground more than we do.
Kevin, do you want to drag your slave?
Yeah, I'll drag my slave. I like throwing things.
Good.
As you enter this room, it's very, very much unlike the barracks that you're in right now. Really comfortable, really well designed room. Got a nice antique rug on the floor. It's got a writing desk that's really ornate wood, with also another wooden locker just beneath the bed. There's a small table against the wall to your right. It's just lit by candlelight, just small stubs left in the candles. There are a few books on the desk as well. But under the table, you also notice a lantern.
Can I take the lantern and investigate it?
You're looking at some kind of lantern that's used for signaling ships, but you're not sure how to use it.
I throw it in my bag of holding.
Did you say there was a desk in here as well?
There's a desk in here, yes.
Can I investigate the desk?
On the desk you find a bunch of books, an almanac for ship times, tide times especially, around Saltmarsh and about 100 miles. Islands around as well are all documented in this book. Holy tome about an actual demigod. And finally, a book of some really, really questionable poetry.
Questionable how?
Could have been written by a child or...
Oh, that's where they went.
The quality of the poems is awful. Child or someone who just cannot write for the life of it. I do.
Are any of these valuable in any way? Any of these books valuable? Anything I can find valuable?
The Naval Almanac will definitely be valuable. There's also a wardrobe in the far corner to your right.
I'll go have a look at that. So I pocket the almanac. I'll leave the other things.
So you open the wardrobe and you find quite a fancy floor-length oilskin trench coat trimmed with iridescent green silk. Quite a fancy coat. And it should be worth quite a few gold pieces, to be honest.
Well,
Trench coat. Trench coat.
I was going to say, I might gift it to Doofenshmirtz and I go over to take off his trench coat and replace it with
No!
Are you holding on to your trench coat or not?
Try.
Please roll a strength check against apathy's sleight of hand.
Well, that's not going to do me any good, is it?
I've got 23 for sleight of hand.
Well, that's 11.
So as Apathy pulls this trench coat off, Doofenshmirtz, what does she see?
You see 2 goblins stacked on top of each other.
I knew it! Which one of you is Doof and which one's Schmertz?
Doof and Schmertz.
Well-
It might have to be Dirk and Smoots, though, because Dirk and Smoots, Smertz and Doof, because of the
Schmertz and
acid stains.
The what?
The acid.
I thought you did the accents.
Yeah, Smertz is Irish.
I heard a rumor that your accent is fake, Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah.
Not gonna deny it.
Why
Is
don't
it a
we just out-
distraction?
I mean, there's a whole backstory, but let's not get into it now.
Take the new trench coat from Apathy.
Put it on.
And we put it on. It's like the whole backstory. Let's not get into it. He's just tying the coat, and then there's just Doof's head just poking out, looking really angry at you, Apathy.
I just roll around laughing.
I'm gonna dismount. I'm gonna be 2 now. It's a lot more.
No, the trench coat won't fit.
Well, we can. Yeah.
Well, I'll give back the other trench coat.
2 of them, so they just wear 2 trench coats. It's really long.
Yeah.
Train. Yeah.
On the bottom of this bed also is a lockbox.
Can I open it?
Go ahead. You find 12 candles, a flint and steel, a piece of parchment that details a method of communicating with a ship.
Oh,
A ship
parchment, that
we can take
details.
over.
Is that with the crew of a ship or the ship itself?
We'll find out.
Ooh.
It's empty of boat. It's like
Can
cars. Awesome.
Can I roll an investigation check?
It's a pretty simple system, to be honest. So basically, as you're using the bullseye lantern, you have the thing that you press it opens and closes the door. It's a long, short, short, short. You're asking, is it safe? Short, long, long. The reply to that, which is everything's safe. Long, long would be ready to unload, come to the ship. They're the 3 signals you use. So is it safe? Yes, it's safe. Come and unload.
Okay,
So
that's helpful.
I'd like to lie down in the bed, please.
or you goes for a little bit of a nap. If you want to take a short rest in this room, I'm happy for you to do that.
Is there anything for me to cook up? Trent! Oh.
Oh my god.
In the barracks, there's a stove and there's like meals that have been laid out that have just been abandoned.
Oh yeah, can I pack up that and bring it down to the bedroom?
So it's just in the other room, so you just carry it in, just lay them with plates. The food's a little bit cold at this point, and you all feast upon a bunch of just roast vegetables, and it seems to be some kind of bird.
I offer out my little pot of honey if anyone has to add to their meal.
I don't.
Honey glazed chicken.
I don't eat anything as I'm allergic.
Allergic to honey?
I'm allergic to everything except for shrimp. I get my little ration pouch out and just start munching on some shrimp.
Oh yeah, the chair. Is it big enough to fit a person in?
Yes, it is.
I think I'll put Derek, what's his face, in.
On the desk as well, I'll let you find it because it's supposed to be there. It's a spell book, and on the inside of that is a key. You can assume for the lockbox, and you're able to lock Trent inside this case. After about half an hour of you taking a little rest, you just hear a knocking from the outside and some screaming. Just let me out, please let me out.
It's better than the last place.
It wasn't that scary. I don't know why I wrote "It's danger" on the door. We kind of dealt with that really quickly, didn't we?
I'm talking about the bag.
You were unconscious.
He's clearly claiming credit.
I push past the others to open the chest.
You can roll with strength to see if you can prise it open with your hands.
10.
You try and open this thing and you really can't.
Kevin, it looks like OU's trying to help Trent get out. Do you think we should open the chest?
No.
Why?
This is annoying.
Yeah, but we don't want him to die just because he's annoying.
Is he annoying or is he terrified that he was kidnapped?
That's true. Yeah, that's a good point, Doofenshmirtz. We should let him
I'm
out.
actually just Doof, that's Schmertz.
We can make him be our slave.
I'll make a deal with you. I'll help you uncover the secret of this place if you let me out. I'll be your guide. I'll guide you through the tunnels, and after seeing how you stand up against yourselves, you're not that weak.
Yeah, alright.
As you unlock the chest, he pops out gasping. Whole body's just wrapped in rope. As he kind of stumbles out of this chest, lands just with a thud on the ground, bruises his chin slightly. Some really spooky whispering begins appearing all around the room. The messages of fear, of death, and stuff like that. Point, he's looking around, just looking at the ceiling for sources, like, who's doing that?
Well, I guess it's the ghosts.
Maybe it's Trent. We should have kept him in the box.
All right, listen, it's not me. I'll level with you. There are no ghosts. I thought you would have figured that out by now.
What about the...
Oh,
Oh,
skeletons.
It's still, I don't know what the skeletons are doing here. Some old. We just claim this is our smuggling operation. We just set off some spooky noises upstairs to keep villagers out.
So what about all the treasure?
There is no treasure. We just set rumors out and just to scare people away from the place or entice them in and just come here. And more of these spooky voices just appear all around the room. Does one of you bring these ghosts?
This is a wonderful prank, Derek. I am something of a prankster myself.
There's an actual smuggling operation going on down here.
Totally believe you, Derek. This is a great prank. Yeah.
I'll show you. And he takes you back into the common room. There's 10 beds lying on the walls. All those, my associates, and he takes you through here. He just knocks on one of the tiles, and a secret doorway appears, and it shows like a wine cellar ahead of you, and in there, a dwarf and a halfling in plate mail that's just been sawed through them. They're the ones the townsfolk sent through last month, and we dealt with those. You're way stronger than Sambella, so the old captain won't stand a chance against you people.
Is the wine cellar full of wine?
It's completely emptied out.
Okay, Derek, lead the way.
Me
You know
and
what?
Schmerz vote for taking Derek in as the treasure, giving them a speech about the value of a human life.
We're not claimed that the golden skull is the treasure.
I want the golden skull.
We can steal it back.
Wait, if we feed Kevin a load of stuff and I'll poop them out, and then that's the treasure. What if we give Kevin chocolate coins?
Wait a minute, you need treasure, right? And I need out of here because they just made me bait to be killed off by you guys. We've got hundreds and hundreds of gold pieces worth of just stock. If we can haul it out, steal it for ourselves.
Where is it?
Just through, and he goes back into the other room, and he opens a small hatch in the wall, and it just shows a staircase descending down, and you just see some torchlight down there as well.
Can we put him back in the box now? He's told us what we need.
You want to roll a strength against him?
I cast guidance, so you get a plus D4.
24.
As you keep finding him again, he's unable to escape. Some more horrific voices just begin appearing louder and louder in the room around you. Some of them shouting cease, some of them shouting death, similar to the voices you heard upstairs when it was just shrieks. And he's like, "That's not me, there are no ghosts in here, we just made that up."
Is Trent cursed?
Whatever, just leave him in box.
You fall into the box, you fall him into it, he's screaming. and you
Push him down the staircase.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
and
suggested it.
because you just shook him down in the box.
I would like to try and stop them.
Or you, please roll a strength check.
I only rolled 9.
Okay, Apathy is there by the, just watching, and she's just rubbing her eyes, just apathetically. And as she's rubbing her eyes, you do see that the eyes flicker from gold to just normal, very human-looking eyes, and they just return back to normal.
Apathy?
Yes.
What just happened?
We locked Trent in a box.
No, your eyes.
I
That's
had an
just her
eyelash.
eye shields. I heard about her eye shields. They have the pretty colours on them
Oh,
Is
I
it
like
just
your
my
eyes.
eyes?
that she puts in.
No. I open my eyes and swoosh around just to prove.
With a really sloppy, gluey sound, which sounds so disgusting.
But,
Rummage in your eye, your eyes do remain gold as you do this.
but Mr. Specs, the optician, told me.
I don't
He
know.
told me he
Mrs.
gave you sparkly eye shields, but that he didn't make them big enough for my eyes, so that made me sad.
My eyes are perfect. I've never been to an optician.
Perfect.
I don't like being
Apathy.
lied to.
You're a powerful demon, is that it?
No, I'm descended from them, though. That's what I was trying to say. I'm the descendant of quite powerful, beings. So maybe that's it.
Okay.
Well, I'm the descendant of a goblin, and guess what? Makes me
Well, I'm
also
not
a goblin.
descended from a parrot, so... And I've
Yeah,
got
why do you have parrot wings?
Because I'm a demigod.
I'd like to be let out now, please.
Have we established that that's not going to happen?
Put me down, just please put me down. I'm a bit scared of
We'll
heights.
put you down, alright. We'll
Put
put you
him
down.
down on the stairs.
I get bored of the proceedings and just go down the stairs myself.
Is
But you
anyone...
might get hit with when we throw him down.
Yeah, I'm thinking that.
I can dodge it.
Uh,
He goes.
can you roll 3d6, please, Kevin?
Am I still helping?
You're helping carry it, but I think both of you just chucked it, so it'll be the same amount of damage.
18.
After you manage to just duck as the chest flies and just shatters off the ground, you collide with the floor as the crate crashes. His neck just twists with a snap, and then he just lands in a heap where it's just like his legs are over his head.
I rush down and do spare the dying.
Oyu pushes past Apathy. His neck straightens as Oyu spares the dying, just rendered unconscious by this instead. The room that you're in, though, it's just a torch-lit cavern that just bends down and curves around, but you do notice that it kind of separates off to your right as well in just something that's just pitch black. From there, you just hear the occasional sound of just some slapping, as if something's falling from the top of it onto the ground, and a bit of a sizzle as well.
We either go into darkness or we go into light.
I can go both.
Shall we go into the darkness?
Yes, darkness.
It's casting of a bonfire.
Who's going with the innator?
Oh, Schmerz.
So Schmerz gets the innator out. The bonfire appears in the centre of the room. Moments later, though, the bonfire is put out by something sloppy that falls from the ceiling and then sizzles on the ashes.
Is this the grease from upstairs?
It's some kind of just slime that's just falling from the ceiling. The cavern continues onwards. There's nothing of importance in here. It continues onwards into another dark passageway. But you do see a small bit of torchlight from inside of there.
Let's go.
Yep.
Okay? So heading off down there. How sneaky are you being?
I can be stealthy.
I can be stealthy squared.
Very stealthy.
I just tried to stealth and I rolled a 2.
Wait, no, I can cast Veil of Dusk, so you have advantage on stealth checks.
Well, let's try again then. That's a 3.
I got a natural 20, so 23.
In this room, you see 3 human-looking figures. They're all sat around a small table lit by candles and they're playing cards. They technically have not noticed you. There's a small stack of silver pieces on the table that they're using to bet, and they're just talking in gruff voices as they're doing this. The cavern pretty much continues onwards, so you could continue stealthing past them around the walls of the cavern.
Well, Kevin can
Maybe we
throw
should
Derek.
send Derek in.
You've just tried killing Derek. I'm not sure whether he'll be on your side anymore.
He really would.
'Cause he's-
I do want to avoid them.
I'd like to try and join the card game.
How are you approaching them?
Hi. What you doing?
Seeing you emerge from the shadows, they jump up with swords suddenly out.
Whoa, calm down.
How do you get here? Who are you? And your recruit? What are you?
I got lost looking for the toilet.
Those are some very fancy robes you're wearing.
Yes.
He looks like a wizard, and a pretty scary one. Do we take him on? No, he's too powerful. Buy-in's 5 silver pieces. Although if you have any more,
I will buy in with 5 gold pieces.
he's very rich. Kevin, you sit down at the card game and putting your 5 gold pieces on. They're playing only with silver pieces right now. They redeal the cards out to each other. You can roll a perception check though.
I got 17.
You notice that as he does this, he seems to deal himself his own special card.
Die. Die cheat. I think I have a little knife. Yes, I have a small knife.
Okay, are you stabbing him or just...
No, I'll just threaten it for now.
And so he puts the cards back and he says, okay, you deal then.
I secretly cast guidance. I kind of just sneak up and just try to
not-
go back.
Just crawling along the floor, your tiny feathers tucked behind you, as then you reach up and touch Kevin and give him guidance. So please roll a d8 and don't tell them what you have. You're playing against 3 of them. They all say, okay, would you like to raise or fold?
I'll raise
How much more are you raising by? And they get excited about this.
2 gold pieces.
The halfling looks a bit worried. And he's like, okay. He has 2 silver pieces in, and then 2 of them immediately fold. And now can you please roll a d6? Reveal your second card, basically. This time it's in public for everyone to see.
3.
His card seems slightly stronger than yours, so he's like, again, do you want to raise or fold? Or just stand?
I'll raise again. Another 2 gold pieces.
Okay, so you put another 2 gold pieces in, and then finally please roll a d4.
3.
So your total is,
11.
this guy reveals his first card to be the Ace of Spades, as I rolled an 8 on the d8. 8, a 4, and a 1 for a total of 13. He pulls all the coins towards himself, and he's like, we'll definitely play against you some other day, but first, do you mind explaining what you're doing here in our cavern?
You first.
This is a hideout. We welcome visitors of your purse, but how did you find us?
Trent told me.
Oh, Trent. Oh, we love Trent. We left him to guard upstairs, and wait a second. All of you read the room, noticing that these guys are now realizing that Kevin has likely killed Trent. Swords slowly begin to withdraw from the sheets.
Has
Just shove
bonfire
Trent
on the table.
I heard
Shoot
bonfire.
Trent at them.
Bonfire first or Trent? That's the question.
Trent first, then. But
I have to do another trickle jump situation where he's rolling for allegiance because I have no idea. So Trent is pushed forwards, seeing 3 against the 4 in the shadows. He's like, this is Kevin. We're friends, yes?
Best friends.
Kevin and I, we go back. We go way back. I just invited Kevin here for a few rounds, and he just kind of went exploring himself, didn't you, Kevin?
Yeah, went looking for the toilet.
I sent him just down the corridor. Yeah, you know where it is, don't you guys? He came down the wrong corridor. Come on, Kevin. Let's just head back upstairs now.
Nope. I want all the money.
No, you lost that. I saw it in the shadows. You lost that money, Kevin. Let's just go back upstairs where everything's fine and nice, and we don't have to kill anybody. Yes.
Nope. I want the money.
While this is going on, Doofenshmirtz, are you casting the bonfire?
Yeah.
Bonfire is lit underneath the table. The inator goes off. It begins smoking at the edges as the table begins catching fire. The table is thrown over, cards go flying everywhere, the money is scattered across the floor. Everyone please roll initiative.
So who's currently near?
Currently it's just Kevin and Trent.
I would like to go and try and pick up both of them to rescue them from the fire.
You can roll a strength check to see if you can lift them.
22.
You're able to rush forward and pull them both as the 3 scouts. One's going to try and straight away he rips off his cloak and just begins batting down the fire to try and put it out. And so the room suddenly darkens. The half-orc, who's the most brutish one in the room, he's going to turn and just try and attack Kevin straight away. Oh, natural 1! He gets his short sword and he's going to try and cut across you. Just cuts into air from where you were, just so you're pulled back by you. And then the human takes out his longbow and he's going to try and fire where he last saw Kevin as well. 15 to hit. It just pierces your shoulder. 5 points of piercing damage.
Okay, can I use my short bow to shoot the one with the bow? 7 to hit.
So as you fire your bow, the guy is still firing his last arrow and ducking backwards just to have it slice past his neck.
I have a longbow, so can I shoot the guy who just
You can, yes.
killed me? 18,
And then please roll damage.
9.
As you're being pulled back and tugged away by you, with your bow you just shoot him. You hear him scream as you've shot him in his hand. There's an arrow just sticking out of his hand right now.
Can I run up to him and just whack it on the head with my staff?
Do you have dark vision on that?
I do not.
You will roll disadvantage as you're finding them.
Okay, so that's 12, 11, so 11.
11 does not hit. So as you rush forward, you sense him in the darkness and you take your staff and you feel the hairs above his head just shift as you realise you're going just glancing his head nearly.
I'm gonna boomerang the human because he won't be able to see me.
So taking the hat off your head, you chuck the hat
22 to hit.
and the damage please.
That would be 7.
Glancing as the arrow passes him, the hat hits him on the side of his cheek, or knocks his head sideways, and the arrow he's about to fire just ricochets off the side of the cave as the hat bounces back into your hand.
I'm going to turn and try and hit the one with the arrows in him with my mace and a punch. So, unnatural 20 to hit and 17 to hit with my punch. 13 damage in total.
You whack into his side, and as he falls down, he drops his sword with the arrow still in his hand. He looks up at you, and then just with a final punch to the face, his eyes go cross-eyed, and he just drops down.
I sit on him.
And his face crunches into the ground. The halfling stops putting out the fire, takes out 2 daggers, and he's going to rush Doofenshmirtz. 17 to hit.
D.
4 points of piercing damage as he just cuts you into one with each hand. As then the human gets an arrow and he's going to fire in the general direction of Apathy. 15 to hit.
Yeah, 15 hits.
So that would be 8 points of piercing damage. Sensing that he's got to hit another hit, he's going to try then aim where Kevin was. Natural 20, fires a second arrow right at Kevin. 12 points of piercing damage.
I'd like to channel my divinity. You use your action to choose up to 2 other willing creatures that they can see. Distribute the damage taken between the original target and the chosen creatures. Is someone else willing to share some of this damage? I'm happy to take 5, Mr. Throckmorton. You can take 6.
Okay, I'll take 6.
So as Kevin is pierced by this arrow, you notice that your arm just begins to bleed slightly. Throckmorton as well. There's the slight blood just begins to pool through your shirt. As Kevin, the arrow that hits you, you feel barely any pain. It feels like just a scratch. And what could have been a threatening just on your heart could have killed you. You realise that it just bounces off your armour as you're surrounded by just a strange glow and a very faint buzzing in your ears as this happens.
Which one's closest to me? Which one can be affected by this the most?
Well, you just messaged me.
Like, can I cause him to fall over?
No.
So that someone else can then.
It would definitely just distract and give people an opportunity.
I want to do that then.
Apathy's eyes, people notice, begin glowing red in the darkness. The whole ground begins to tremor. A few rocks just fall from the top of the cavern. This guy looking horror at Apathy, seeing her now as the main threat of the room. For the next round, I'd say, advantage on your next attacks.
And there's still a guy shooting arrows.
Yes.
I will fire another arrow at that guy. Okay, 19.
And then roll your damage, please.
That's 4.
His eyes locked with Apathy's as its arrow comes flying and it just hits him into the side. You hear a shriek which echoes around you.
I'm going to use my staff and just whack over the one shooting. 18, 7 damage.
So him being distracted by this arrow and as he's screaming, you silence him by just a whack with the staff to the head and he falls to the ground and you see blood begin to pool from his face.
2 daggers. Well, I'm gonna whack him in the face with my club. Bonk. 17 to hit. 2 damage. No, 0 damage. It's -1, not +1.
You pull about.
Lightly caresses him with a stick.
You're looking very shocked in his eyes.
I'm going to go hit it with my great club. Well, that's a natural 20 to hit. 15. I'm maxed out.
Given just hit the guy with club and it did not work. You comes up with just a great club and just dashes down. Having no time to look over his shoulder, just knees buckle as the weight of the great club comes on his head and with a crash, the room falls into silence.
Wait, should we take a rest first?
I do need to heal.
Pick all the coins up.
Having goes in the scoop with all the coins, you get about 35 silver pieces from this game.
It was worth almost dying.
So can we set up camp?
Yeah, I'm sitting with playing cards.
Are you taking a long rest or short rest?
Long rest. I need to recover all my hit
A
points.
medium rest.
The cabin is rarely used by the smugglers, and most of these, you can tell, came here just to play cards and to escape from their regular duties.
Should we cremate the bodies?
Yeah, nice.
Oh, my bonfire! And then you sort them. Who said that?
Nothing happens in this cavern overnight. As you all take your long rest, recover hit points, and bring yourself back around, the Trent kind of camps with you. Shoved down the stairs and knocked out, kind of changes his attitude towards you.
He got brain damage.
Slight brain damage. Derek has been. He's not even called Derek, he's called Trent. He still believes he's called
know
Derek.
that he's got brain damage.
He's got brain damage. He believes he's called Derek from now on, as he's blindly just following you, thinking you're friends. You wake up, continue exploring the cavern, I'm guessing. Thank you. Ahead of you, you begin to hear some kerfuffle. It's well lit. Who's leading, please? Okay, Throckmorton, are you being stealthy or just marching in?
Well, marching in didn't really work for me last time.
But it might work this time. Let's go.
We'll be stealthy.
As you stealthy around, you see a tall man. He's wearing a pirate's hat, very similar to Kim's, a captain's hat of some kind. It doesn't seem to go with the rest of his outfit. A really long robe that's blue, and he looks like he's some kind of wizard. He is vicious looking in his face, and he's yelling all these orders at his smugglers. Arr! It'd be a fine morning for this. Ordering.
What a lovely day! Arr!
What a lovely day. Arr. He's ordering his crewmates to keep loading the ship, and he hasn't noticed you. As all of his smuggler friends loading crates and just carrying them through. You see like massive things of cotton, all with a sigil on the front, and massive barrels of obviously ale. They seem to be in a hurry to get all these crates and barrels out, ready to be loaded onto a ship.
I hear an order and just start helping. I'm just going to pick up a box and do what I'm told.
I follow along.
I'll follow, but like quietly behind so I don't scare anybody.
Or you walks in, ready to carry some crates, he just picks up a thing of cotton. This guy's commanding his other friends to do it. He turns around, makes eye contact with you. That there be not a member of my crew. And he slowly takes out a scimitar.
But you told me to carry the boxes to the other cave.
Please roll a persuasion check.
Natural 20.
Oh, I've not seen it around before, but we could definitely use part of your skill. Head down that there cavern.
Yes, Mr. Captain, sir.
Are you there? And he looks at Throckmorton with the wings.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you his pet?
Yes.
Okay, Apathy, what are you doing?
Standing there.
Are you still in the shadows or are you well in torchlight?
How about half and half?
Oh,
Lighting
roll
some
a
of my
natural 20.
Oh.
Of the room clears. Kevin and Doofenshmirtz, are you both doing it as well?
I'm hiding in the shadow.
Yeah,
He'll
same.
probably notice you. He'll notice all of you. As the
No.
room clears.
Can they be stood behind me, like directly behind, so that you can't see? Maybe
Sure.
the outline of Kevin behind me, so it looks like my arms are bigger.
We'll allow that. Or you and Throckmorton are carrying crates out with the rest of the smugglers. Apathy, he turns around, he makes eye contact with you. Didn't you hear me?
Can I go up to him and warn him that this is an omen?
Okay, you can definitely roll a deception.
17.
An omen.
I say you should stay away from that.
I very slowly walk up to the guy.
You'd be taking me for a lily-livered coward.
Have you ever heard of the lily-livered demon? That's her.
Takes out his scimitar now fully, and he's turning towards Apathy. Apathy's walking towards him, he's walking towards you, clearly seeing his own coat being worn by a goblin behind. He looks down at that, looks at the rest of you. This is where we're going to end the session.